But, okay. Hey y'all, it's Rashida, and I'm here to talk to you about planning your gap year. So, your adult gap year. Whenever I say gap year, I'm speaking to adults, kids. I love you. Go home. This isn't for you. Bye. Alright, so if you're planning an adult gap year, grown-up gap year, sabbatical, mid-career gap year, I am coming to talk to you about planning your itinerary. So, a couple months ago, I created a gap year checklist, which you can get from my website. I'll put the link down below. And in that checklist, your itinerary is the first step. And I want to talk a little bit about how I planned which countries I was going to go to. So, I did this differently than a lot of people do. I intentionally did not plan. And by intentionally not planning, I saved some money and I lost some money. But that's just, people who plan the whole thing out will do the same thing. They'll save some money, they'll lose some money. I'll tell you why. So I typically knew where I was going to be at least a week in advance. So I knew what country I was going to be in next week, but typically no further than that. And there were some days where I was like, oh, I gotta go home right now and look at my computer because I don't know where I'm sleeping tomorrow night. Now there were only 1 or 2 days like that because even though I wanted this year to be very unplanned, to sort of fight my type A tendencies, I still have those type A tendencies. So I would plan things out a week in advance, pretty distinctly. But one of the ways I saved money by not planning ahead was I never had a ticket that I couldn't make, or I had to cancel, or I had to pay to rebook, because when you're planning a week in advance, it's really hard for an emergency to come up that you can't plan around. I don't know if I mentioned this before. My dad passed away last year while I was on my gap year. And that was pretty much the only thing where I was like, oh, I guess I need a ticket. But I was in Mexico. I was just south of Mexico City in San Miguel de Allende, and I needed to get to LA. So even though it was more expensive than I would like to get a last minute ticket, it wasn't like I was in Asia. So for me, there were very few emergencies. Anything else for the family or something like that, I was just kind of like, we'll have to miss it. Sorry guys, love you. But that's what they expected when I took off for a year. So when planning like a week in advance, what I typically do is I use Skyscanner's Everywhere feature. So I'll say, okay, I'm in Kuala Lumpur. Where do I want to be next week? I'll go to Skyscanner and I will look up the cheapest flights. So if I'm in Kuala Lumpur, I want to leave on Saturday or Sunday, I'll look up the cheapest flights to leave the city on Saturday or Sunday. I probably wouldn't do Saturday and Sunday because flights are probably more expensive on those days. Say I do Wednesday or Thursday. I'm leaving Wednesday or Thursday from Kuala Lumpur. Whatever cheapest countries I can go to, whatever cheapest cities in those countries that I can go to from Kuala Lumpur. It's a great feature. I have a blog post about it. I'll link that below. I'll also link that gap year checklist that I mentioned below too. And you can get that on my website. So what I typically do is look at my phone, go to the app or the website. You can do it on their website as well. Go to Skyscanner and say, okay, their Everywhere feature, what can I find, whatever cheap places, and then don't forget this step. Before you book your ticket, look for housing in that city. So can I get cheap hostels? Can I get cheap hotel rooms? Can I get cheap Airbnbs? Because if you can't, it doesn't matter how cheap your airfare is, you're going to end up losing money on that trip. So don't do that. It would be foolish. Don't do that. Okay, so Skyscanner, you'll see a list of cities. You can say, yes, I want to go there. No, I don't want to go there. You can decide based on your list of priorities of countries you want to go to and prices you're seeing, how to weigh that balance and figure out where you want to go. So that is my tip for you for sort of last minute planning. It is Skyscanner, countries, check prices, check housing prices as well, and then figure out where you want to go. Now, there is a way to plan all of this, every country you're going, buy your plane ticket ahead of time. You'll get cheaper airfares by buying all of this ahead of time. But say something goes wrong in that country and you have a ticket going in say there's some sort of earthquake. There's a tsunami. You have a ticket going in, and then you have a ticket from the going into your next country. So that's 2 tickets you may not be able to use if there's something going on, a bad storm or something. And now you're in country A, couldn't get to country B, and now you have to buy a ticket from country A to country C because you skipped country B in the middle. I hope that made sense. So think about that when planning ahead. I think it's a great idea. I try not to plan ahead too far though. I just didn't want to do the work and plan it all ahead, but some people love it, and I know people who do it and they swear by it. I know other people who do it and they lost money because they had to change plane tickets for a variety of reasons. So figure out what type of planner you are and how you want to do it. And if you have gap year questions, like I said, you can schedule a consultation with me on my website. I will put that link below, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have in the comments. And I think that's it for tonight. I'll talk to you again next time. Bye.